Hello students, in this video let us continue with the gateways, which I had already started and discussed some of the points in the previous video. So we have already discussed that a gateway is a device that connects the dissimilar networks, that is, it is connecting here with the LAN network and the internet. Internet is nothing but the WAN network, and this gateway operates at the highest layer of network abstraction, means it works in the application layer, presentation, session layer and the transport layer. In these higher levels of OSI reference model it's working. That's the reason it's been called as the higher, it is working in the highest layer of network abstraction. And then I also said that it actually expands the functionality of router by performing the data translation and the protocol conversion. Why data translation and protocol conversions are needed? Because the format of the data and the protocols which the LAN network is using in order to transmit the packets are not compatible. The same protocols and the data formats are not being used by the server. They are not compatible with each other. So we need an intermediate or the interface device known as the gateway, which will convert that packet, okay, the associated packet with that, the data format and the protocols. It will convert, which are being understood by the server, and once the server replies back, again the data translation and the protocol conversion will be done where those protocols are being compatible with your LAN network, and then the packet is being forwarded to your LAN network. Now let us move on to the next point. Like, I'll give an example why this data translation and the protocol conversion, how it is done. It is needed to convert the Ethernet traffic. Ethernet traffic is nothing but the LAN traffic, right? The LAN network. It's needed to convert the LAN to the SNA traffic. SNA stands for System Network Architecture Traffic, and then that SNA traffic, that SNA traffic will send to the mainframe. When the mainframe replies back, mainframe replies back with the resource, the reverse process occurs. Now let me explain this example. Whenever your packet reaches to the gateway, I said data translation and the protocol conversion will be done. Who will do this data translation and the protocol conversion is nothing but the SNA, that is System Network Architecture. System Network Architectures, they are nothing but they are the complete protocol stack. It is one of the complete protocol. There are many protocols in that. It's a complete protocol stack which is used for interconnecting the computers. Now here what computers are connecting? LAN, in LAN network your workstation, and here in the internet some server. So those two devices are communicate. They want to exchange the packets, right? They want to communicate with each other. So whenever the packet reaches to the gateway, that the LAN traffic will be converted to the SNA traffic, and then the SNA traffic will forward your packet to the server. Server one replies back, that will be in some different format where the SNA will reconvert into that, performs the data translation and then forward to the LAN architecture. So this SNA is nothing but the it actually describes the formats and the protocols that is needed for the interconnecting. It is a complete protocol stack which describes the formats and the protocols needed for the interconnecting, so that the gateway can perform the data translation and the protocol conversion to make the two different computers or two dissimilar networks to communicate with each other. Now this gateway actually acts as a node onto the network. Now this gateway is also being connected to one of the network. It actually serves as act as an entrance to the another network. See, whenever your packets are moving in and out of your LAN network, isn't it this gateway is acting as an entrance? Even though whenever it is communicating with the server, this gateway is acting as an entrance or the entrance, and it serves the packets to pass from in and out of the network. Now this gateways, they are being used in this gateway will be serving its functionality in home also and in enterprises. Enterprises in the sense organizations or any offices, or okay. So this gateway's functionalities are being used at the homes also, at the enterprises also, At home, this gateway will act as an ISP, that is Internet Service Provider, that helps the customers to connect to the internet. Okay, like without this gateway, the gateway actually nothing but whatever the router is performing, the same functionality will be done by the gateway, but some additional functionality will be performed by the gateway. So what it is, that is because this gateway will act as an ISP. ISP is Internet Service Provider. It is an organization that provides an internet access to the customers or any companies or home or something like that. Okay, in enterprises, how the gateway will act, this gateway will act as a proxy server. Now let me show here. There are two different LAN networks here. Okay, so these are the servers. Server will be in the WAN network. If they have to communicate with each other directly, it cannot. Your data has to go to the gateway first. Okay, in gateway there is an SNA traffic. That LAN network will be converted to the SNA. SNA will forward your packet to the server. Server will in turn send a packet to the gateway. SNA traffic will again convert the data which is compatible and then forward. Okay, so in enterprises, this gateway acts as a proxy server. Proxy server is what? It's a machine that acts like a server but not an actual server. Say, whenever you make a request for the facebook.com or something, your data packet will not directly go to the server. Okay, instead it will go to the proxy server. In proxy server, most of the commonly used websites data will be stored in the proxy server. Okay, in order to hide the actual IP address of the servers, we are using the proxy server. They are nothing but they will actually serve all the users. Okay, why we need to hide the IP address of the server, why we have to make use of the proxy server, is because there will be certain hackers and all over the internet. They will try to hack the IP address. They will try to hack the servers. If the servers are being hacked, means most of the informations of most of the customers or the users will be information may be maliciously used. In order to avoid that, usually they will be using the proxy server. So gateway sometimes act as a proxy server. Okay, and which will that actually acts as a server, but it is not a server. That means when the packets are moving in and out of your LAN, it is the gateway who is forwarding your packets to your network. In that time, gateway itself will act as a proxy server. It seems that this gateway itself is forwarding the data to us, as though if whatever your request you are making, the gateway is providing the packets. So in that case, it will act as a proxy server. And in case of enterprises, again the gateway also act as a firewall. Firewall is a system, okay, it's a design to prevent any unauthorized access to or from the private network. Suppose this private network is internet. Okay, suppose if any hacker or cracker, your workstation, you are requesting something. Okay, you have requested some for website. Okay, there may be hacker. Along with the original packet, hacker may try to send his own packet. Okay, unauthorized, malicious kind of packet. So when that packet arrives to this gateway, which is acting as firewall, now it will examine for the source and the destination IP address. When the source address, it finds that it is maybe some other which is unwanted, or if it is a span or something, this gateway will restrict. It will never allow that packet to cross your network, and it will never allow that packet to enter into your network and reach to the destination. In that case, the gateway also acts as a firewall. Next thing is, gateway is also associated with the router and the switch. Now why the gateway is associated with the router is because this gateway is using here, okay, it is using the headers. Okay, gateway makes use of the headers and forwarding tables to determine where the packets are to be sent. You can see here, you think that this is your mobile station or this is your mobile phone which you are requesting some maybe Facebook, and here is the internet. So if at all, if I am using only one router, directly your packet will go to the nearest router. If it is directly connected to the internet, then destination computer system, then it will fetch the data and send the reply back to you. But internet or the WAN is such a big, okay, your server is not nearby to you, so there will be many routers. There will be many routers. So your request will first go to the nearest router. Nearest router, if is not able to identify the destination IP address, again the nearest router may send the data to the next nearest router. Next nearest router, if is directly connected to the destination, it will forward. Otherwise it will send the data to the next nearest to next nearest. Maybe this router is have connected to the destination. Here it is shown. So this may send to this may send to this. So here you can see it is gateway router. That means this gateway, it is okay, this router has been connected to the destination internet router. So it may give that information packet to this router. Again this router may connect to the destination, and it may fetch the Facebook website and forward back to back, and again it will hand over to the destination. Okay, in that case the gateway, now what it is doing, it is acting as a router, because which is using the header in the sense the headers are there in the packet, which consist of the source and the destination IP address and the actual data to be sent. And it also consisting of the forwarding tables. How the routers will get to know I have to forward the data to the next this router only, as I have already discussed this point in the routers video. Okay, based upon forwarding tables, they will determine the shortest path to reach to the destination. And then these gateway are also associated switch, I said, because the switch provides the actual path for the packets to in and out of the gateway. By switch decides on which port the data should be forwarded. I have already shown this in the case of switch when I had discussed. In a device there will be like this ports, okay, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 like this ports will be there. Whenever the data arrives to your switch and all, switch will decide what port, through which port the data has to be sent to the destination. Suppose if a switch is there, here I'll show you. Yeah, this switch is connected to 1 2 3 4 5. Your packets may come from the gateway and it may reach to the switch. So in switch 5 systems are there, 5 systems are there. Here maybe your third is your destination. Then it should not make your data packets available to all the computer system, isn't it? It should go to the third port only. From third port only it should go to your particular destination in order to provide the security. Like that, the switch, it is associated with the switch because it also decides the from which port the data has to forward it to the destination. And this gateways can be implemented both on software as well as the hardware, or it might be the combination of the both. That means in a router itself we can implement the gateway functionalities also. Maybe in the hardware device also we can implement, or maybe both the combination of the hardware and the software. So this is all about the gateway. You should know about what exactly the gateway is, how the communication takes place in the gateway. In-home gateway actually acts as an internet service provider. In offices or the enterprises, gateway acts as a proxy server. It also acts as a firewall. Okay, how the gateways were associated with the router. If it is associated with the router, how it is by making use of headers and forwarding tables, how it is transmitting the packets. It is associated with the switch. Why? Because switch decides on which port the data has to move in and out of your network. So all these points you should be able to be aware of. And gateway is very important as exam point of view. Here 1 marks questions are important, like what is proxy server, what is firewall and all. So clearly listen to the video. Okay, I hope gateway is very much clear to all. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is wireless versus mobile computing. Okay, so here the terms mobile and wireless are often used interchangeably. You may say that mobiles are all wireless devices, but in reality they're quite different concepts. Wireless versus mobile computing. How exactly the wireless, which are the wireless devices? Okay, what makes the wireless devices different from the mobile system? Okay, so wireless actually refers to the method of transferring the information between a computing device such as PDA, personal data assistant, and a data source called as the database servers without having the physical connection. Now I can say, for an example, the wireless may be the router. Okay, what is the method of transferring the information? It is a kind of a device that helps you to transfer the message or the information between a computing device such as PDA, that means personal data assistant, maybe your laptop, your computer system. Okay, it will allow to transfer the data from the laptop or your computer system to a data source called as the server, database server. That means maybe the mainframe computer, but without having a physical connection. That means this is a router. Wirelessly, this device, router is a wireless device that helping you to connect between the PDA and the server. Okay, PDA and the server. See here, this is your PDA, and this is somewhere here server is there. The wireless device, router is a device. It's a wireless device that helping you to transfer the message or the information to the data source server without having a physical connection. Means the data whatever you are sending is in terms of wireless. Now this kind of a devices we can say as a wireless devices. For example, I can give as the router. And wireless communication is simply a data communication without the use of physical connectivity. Means wireless those are the devices which don't use the physical connectivity. Physical connectivity means the one which makes use of the cables. Like we are not using, whenever I use the router, whenever I use the like gateways and all, we are not using any cables at all. Okay, so without having physical connectivity, they are able to transfer the data. And not all wireless communication technologies are mobiles. See here, this is wireless communication technology. They are not at all the mobiles. So not all wireless communication technologies are mobiles. So what is the on the other hand, then what are these mobiles are? Okay, you don't worry about what is this GSM and CDMA. Just for your reference, I'm showing these handsets. Okay, mobiles are simply describing a computing device that has not been restricted to the desktop. That means they are portable devices. These are the mobiles or the handsets which are not restricted to the desktop. Instead, they are the portable device. A mobile device may be a PDA. Again, it might be a laptop because it's a portable device. It might be a tablet. Okay, like tablet, it might be in your mobile phones itself, a small cell phone or a web phone. It might be a laptop, computer, or any other devices that allows the user to complete the computing task without being tethered. Without being tethered means without being connected to the network every time. Okay, that means mobile is a computing device. That means computing device in the sense the performing device. It's a performing device which is not restricted to the desktop. It might be any cell phones or any laptops or anything which is movable. Okay, that allows the user to perform any task on the device without being connected to the network all the time. Tethered means connecting to the network. Without being tethered means without connecting to the network all the time. For an example, if you want to play any movies which is already been downloaded in your mobile phones, you don't, whenever you are playing a movie or whenever you are playing an offline games in your mobile handsets, do you need to be connected to the network? No, right? Only when you make a phone call or only when you send and receive the data over the internet, okay, then only you'll be able to have the network connection. That time you need it. Then mobile computing does not necessarily require wireless communication, because it may require communication, it may not require the communication between devices at all. See, it's not that every time it should have wireless communication, because every time it is not communicating with all the devices. It is not communicating with all the devices. Only when you get a phone calls, only when you have to send your data to some other devices, then only it requires the wireless communication. Otherwise, it is not needed to be, every time have the wireless communication. Okay, then wireless communication. Now next point is regarding wireless communication. Wireless communication is just the data communication without the use of landlines. Means without the using landlines in the sense cables, without having any kind of cables. This may involve cellular telephone, that is a two-way radio. Then if they are not using the landlines or the cables, means then what they are using is, they may involve cellular telephone. Cellular telephone in the sense I told, many networks are interconnected with each other, where the last network is wirelessly connected and then transferring the packets out of that network. Then I can say it's a cellular network. Okay, here in case of wireless, the communication may be between the two-way radio By using the radio signals, it might be by using the fixed wireless connection like microwaves. It might be using the communication may take place between by using laser or satellite communication. Okay, wireless communication, they don't make use of the landline phone. Instead, they may use the radio waves, microwaves, laser, or the satellite communication. Hence, if they are using these radio microwave and all, their computing devices mean this wireless device, it is to be continuously connected to the base network, isn't it? Base network is nothing but antenna. If I'm using the radio waves and transmitting the data packets, then doesn't we need the antennas all the time? It has to be connected. It should be in the radiation. It should be having the mobility, isn't it? If I'm using the microwave, it should have a very high gain antenna. If I'm using the laser, I need to have a transceiver and the receiver. If I'm using the satellite communication, obviously your waves has to be connected to the ground station and the satellite communication. Hence, it has to be always tethered. That tethered in the sense always they have to be connected. Then what about in case of the mobile or untethered means that mobile computing device is need not continuously connected to the base or the central network. Unless and until you make a phone calls or receive and send message, you need not to connect to the continuously to the network. Okay, suppose you want to play a game in your mobile phones or something, if you want to take photos or something like that, you need not to connect to the network at all. And then what does this mobile includes devices like mobile include PDAs, again the personal data assistant. They may include the laptops, computers, okay, cell phones, isn't it? Our laptop need not every time connected to the network. If I have to make use of internet, then only it will able to connect. These products may communicate with a base location with or without a wireless connection. That means through the mobile I can communicate, I can transfer the data packets to any other device with or without the wireless connection. Wireless connection, you know, that is internet. Then with wires, how are I able to transmit the data? If I have to transfer the file which is there in the mobile to the laptop, what you do? You make use of the USB cable. With or without means that by using the cables or by without wireless communication also you can send the data from your mobile to any other device. I can use the USB cable and transfer the data to the other systems also. So these were all about the wireless difference between the wireless and the mobile communication. Both are passing the data only, but the only thing is wireless communications are not every time the mobiles only. Wireless may be the routers also, it may come gateways also, it may come other devices, networking devices it may include. Whereas the mobile phones, they are not at all restricted one. They have the portable devices. So here the communication will be done by the radio waves, laser, satellite communication and all. Fine. So this is all about the wireless versus mobile computing. Now let us continue with the next topic, that is GSM. Okay. So in this slide you can see there are two handsets of GSM and CDMA. I hope you have a little bit idea of what exactly the GSM and CDMA handsets are. Okay, so now in this video let us discuss about first with the GSM and then we'll go for the CDMA. So GSM actually stands for Global System for Mobile Communications. Okay, GSM and CDMA both are the world's most widely used cell phone technology. These both are cell phone technology. Fine. And what kind of waves it is having is, it is having with the digital cellular systems. It is able to carry the digital cellular. Hence, it is both are being called as they are the leading digital cellular systems. Okay. And then this GSM is a standard for the digital cell phone, which was being established in the Europe in the mid 1980s. Okay, so this GSM, the cell phone users can buy one phone that will work anywhere that the GSM standard has been supported. That means in India, GSM network has been supported, hence most of the users are using the GSM handsets comparatively to the CDMA handsets. Okay, now how exactly this GSM works is, this GSM makes use in order to connect to the specific provider, that means in order to connect to the specific operator like Airtel, Vodafone, okay, Docomo and all, in order to connect to the specific provider, these GSM are just the handsets, okay, GSM handsets and the CDMA handsets. These handsets, if they want to connect to the any of the mobile operator, they may have to use the SIM cards. Okay, so SIM actually stands for subscriber identity module. The GSM mobiles, now here you can see this is a GSM mobile Nokia which was actually using the SIM card. Without using the SIM card, GSM handsets will not work. Okay, so I'll explain about the SIM cards here. Actually, next after the GSM, next subtopic is about a SIM card only. So in detail now only I'll be explaining. I'll not take it as a separate topic here. So these SIM cards actually stands for subscriber identity module, which are the removable disc, okay, that slip in and out of your mobile phones. So these are the SIM cards, okay, they are the small tiny chip removable disc which can be inserted in your mobile handsets. Okay, these tiny chips actually, they store all the connection data and identification number. Connection data means the connection data that is required in order to connect to the internet. All such kind of connection data it will include, and it also you include the identification number, that means unique phone number which has been particularly allotted to the single user. Okay, so that unique phone number it consists of, so that it will allow you to access to the wireless service provider. Wireless service provider is nothing but your internet or the ISP, internet service provider. So I have already told that ISP, internet service provider, is a kind of an organization that helps the users to connect to the internet. Okay, and the SIM card, it's a tiny chip that gives a cellular device its unique phone number. It has a memory. These SIM cards are having a memory, it is having a processor, and it also have the ability to interact with the user by using the internet. And usually SIM cards are having the memory capacity around 16 to 64 kilobytes of memory it can provide. That provides you plenty of storage in order to store your personal phone numbers. It will allow you to store the text messages, right, and other kind of data it will allow you to store in this SIM cards. Okay, any handset that are using the SIM cards into it, then such kinds of handset I can say that they are the GSM handsets. Like I can give an example like Samsung, Motorola, these all we are having the SIM slot. If you are removing the back end of your mobile phone, you can see the SIM slot there where the SIM card has been inserted. Maybe you are an Airtel user or Vodafone user, whoever you are, whichever operator you are using, if you are having a SIM slot in your mobile, which is you can remove and you can remove it from your mobile handset, then such kinds of handsets you usually call it as a GSM handset. Whereas the other one which I have shown here is the CDMA. These CDMA are the handsets where they come around with the SIM locked handsets where you are unable to take out the SIM. You cannot take out the SIM card. SIM card is locked into it. Such handsets are usually called it as a CDMA. Like example, initially HTC was the first handset of CDMA network. This CDMA network is most popularly used in the US, United States, in most of the Asian countries. Okay, and the GSM, it is wild world leading digital cellular comparatively to the CDMA. Why? Because the advantage of GSM is that if you are a Airtel user and if you want to switch to the Vodafone, easily you can just remove the Airtel SIM card from your mobile handset and insert the Vodafone SIM card into it. Directly your phone you are being connected to the new operator. So easily you can change the operator. You need not to change the handset if you want to get to connected to the some other different operator. So that is why GSM is more widely used. Whereas CDMA, if you want to get connected to some other operator, you have to change your handsets itself, like HTC, like Carbon Mobiles, okay, Micromax and all, they all come with a built-in SIM cards within it. Such handsets are said to be as a CDMA. I hope you'll be able to make out the difference. Now in India, GSM network is most popular comparatively to the CDMA. Okay, now let us see how exactly the GSM is working, what technology that GSM is using in order to deliver the digital data to mobile services to the users. So this this GSM is making use of a narrow band called as the time division multiple access, that is TDMA. Now what is this narrow band? Narrow band is nothing but it's a channel. This is a band, okay, this is a channel or the narrow band. I can also say these are the images which I'm showing you all for your understanding purpose. These are all not there, but certain points are there where if I just tell you, you may not clearly understand. So with this kinds of images I'm making you to understand. So GSM is using a narrow band. Now I can say this is a channel, this I can say as a band. Within this frequency band your data is been transferring. So GSM is using a narrow band called as time division multiple access, that is TDMA. Don't look at this, this is different one. I just wanted to show here as this as a channel here. Okay, so this is that channel. Okay, so it is using such TDMA which allows 8 simultaneous calls on the same radio frequency. That means that frequency which I was showing you the previously, that complete entire channel can be divided into 8 simultaneous calls. That means see here, this is a frequency of 200 kilohertz. Okay, this is the same radio frequency. That frequency is divided into 8 time slots. That means simultaneously 8 users can be allocated the calls. This is user 1. This is user 1, this is user 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, from 0 it's starting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up to 8 users simultaneously can make use of same radio frequency in order to have the, in order to use the phone calls or any kind of data services. Okay, and this TDMA is a technology for delivering the digital wireless service using time division multiplexing. Now how exactly this TDMA is dividing this frequency into 8 time slots? It's all because of the one more technology known as TDM, that is time division multiplexing. It is time division multiplexing is nothing but it's a technique for combining several low rate channels into one high rate channel. That means here you can see there are so many low rated channels. These are the different users on the sender side. Okay, when these are all low rated channels, these are all low rated channels. They will be combined and they will be made to send in a TDMA, that is a TDMA narrow band, and they will be multiplexed into a high rate frequency, and then they will be forwarded at the receiving end. What happens at the antenna? This is a demultiplexing happens at the antenna. At the receiving end, again that it will be decoded, and then further see here, gray color data has been sent by the sender. At the receiver side, first user will receive the same data. Second one has sent this. The second one user at the receiving also end receives the same kind of data. Like this, your entire channel will be divided into 8 slots and 8 simultaneously calls they can make by using the time division multiplexing, which is a technology for delivering the digital wireless service using the time division multiplexing. And what is this time division multiplexing? This time division multiplexing, it is a technique for combining those all several low rate channels into the high rate one. It will give the more bandwidth in order to send your data packets very fast. Now this TDMA actually works by dividing the entire radio frequency into 8 time slot and then allocate those slots to the multiple calls. Now you can say this is completely one radio signal. So therein it is allocating for the 8 users. See, this is first. Now right now in this slide 8 users are not there. So in that case what happened? user 1 is allotted this time slot, user 2 is allotted this time, user 3, user 4, like this. After next will remain blank. So users 1 still wants to send his data, then the next available slot will be allotted to the user. So depending upon the time slot, the users will be allotted to in order to send their data further. Now here I can say simultaneously two people are sending, they are making use of the same radio frequency channel in order to send their data. How they are sending, you see, this is the first user who is sending the message known as hi, hence it is this is an analog signal. So your phone will always have the analog signal, but in your GSM cell there is a device which will convert those analog into the digital form. That does the GSM network does that. So this analog signal hi, it has been color coding, here it is given in pink, this person, second person go, both are using the same channel. You can see this is user second, this is packet is user first packet is. So your hi is being divided into packets, one is known as H and the other one is I. Here also the entire data is message is been divided into two packets, one as G and one as O. Like this, when they mix and when both the signals are being combined and they are being sent in a channel, this technique is nothing but TDMA. Okay, this technique is telling. Now this is first slot, this is second slot, whatever time division. TDM is the divided the entire channel into 8 slot, but other users are not there, only these two users are making use. So your slot is divided into 2 and the users are using it. At the receiving end, what happened, it will demultiplex, it will decode the data, high packet will entirely, it will recombine and it is being given to the this user, correct user, and the go message is been again decoded properly and it is reassembled, and then the message is delivered at the other end. This is how exactly the GSM work. In this way, a single frequency can support the multiple simultaneous data channels. Usually this GSM actually operates in 900 megahertz to 1800 megahertz frequency bands. It will operate within that frequency range to almost of all the users. It will allow to make a data service or it will allow to make the phone calls. But as the latest, it is working up to 1900 megahertz also, and the data transfer rate in case of GSM is nothing but 14.4 kilobits per second data transfer rate is there. So here you see, maybe the first slot 200 kilohertz first user is done. Okay, after that second time what happened, second radio signal, like that many data channels will be there. Second slot again with a new 8 users it will allocate. See, channel could support only for 8 active users. Okay, there will be, see, all the people at the simultaneous, they don't make phone calls. No, accordingly depending upon the situation they make phone calls. Okay, and then see here, by using single frequency, so many users can send and receive the data. This is nothing but time division multiplexing. Depending upon the time slots, the users have been allocated the channel. So this GSM data transfer rate is about 14.4 kilobits per second. So this is all about the GSM. So in our next video we will discuss clearly about the CDMA. Okay, so watch the video properly. I hope all the concepts are very much clear to you all. So take care. Thank you.